Good morning. It is, oh, it's too bright. It is, it's November the 6th, Thursday, November 6th, 2025. It's 8:33 a.m. And the world is completely and utterly yours. Always has been, always will be. And it's all your fault because you didn't choose. You got to let the light in. You can't survive in this realm without letting the light in. But here you go. Oof, that's a noise, isn't it? Let the light in. There you go. Oof. Let the light in. Be a good bloke. If you're not helping others at this stage, understand that what you choose is very important, more so than ever. Okay, I seem to have messed that up now. Oh well, I can mess things up again. Oh, crunch! What a noise. Okay. How can I clearly? Oh, well, let me start by looking at this camera instead of the monitor. Let me start by saying I've finished my first cup of coffee. Let me read some of my notes. I write my own books and publish them. Somebody published a book. Somebody I know published a book. And in a lot of ways, I see that as signs that we are in an extreme duality. Somebody I know published a book that's training people to look into their dark side. Well, I suppose I'm a nemesis to that person, or that person is a nemesis to me, because I'm saying we need to look at the light, and we need to be more in the light, not the dark side. Okay, I'm going to read a poem from this book that I have never, I wrote it many years ago, found the notebook, and it's got lots of empty pages, so I've got lots of things to do. Can I read this? There is no free will, just the will to be free. I've planted that seed, awaiting a tree. I've looked at the wake adrift in the foam, spinning in circles. I'll never get home. I'm raising no flag, no help needed here. Life is a drag when you're living in fear. I eat kryptonite for breakfast. The sun shines on TV. You call that a nail? Did you shape that tree? You look so cool, stone cold to me. Cast off your sin. Be naked and free. Love is the key. I just changed my locks. Paranoid visions, judging the box. Wow. I think I wrote that in I think it's probably from the early 2020s, or maybe even 2019. I don't know. No, this is going back further. Pretty though. And it's just words, But what are words worth? Do they shape society? I think so. How we interact, how we communicate, that love, that sharing, that caring, that beauty of being a human, and understanding that there are extremes, and then finding the middle path. The middle path involves no violence, none, not even consensual violence, none, zero. Can you take that in? I mean, we live in a, I'm looking at that screen again. We're living in a society currently, a realm that is based on violence. All of it. State run violence, globally run violence, human beings who are attracted to or doling out violence. The word consent. Shall I look up the meaning of it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see what the modern dictionary makes of the word consent. Consent. Consent is the clear, voluntary, and affirmative agreement to a position or action, most critically in a sexual context, where it must be ongoing and can be revoked at any time. It can be given through. See, this is just garbage. This is adding, like, it goes from, that's not a clear definition. That's an AI overview. Okay, consent, permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. Right, give permission. So who are you? Do you live a permission-based lifestyle? Do you, out there, you wonderful human beings, do you live a permission-based lifestyle? Permission for something to happen. I don't know, what's this from? Okay. Consent 101, Wikipedia, Merriam-Webster. That's a modern dictionary. Okay, definition and meaning. Here it is. Why is that not playing? Oh dear, it's not letting me play how to pronounce consent. Anyway, it's a verb. Synonyms of consent. Intransitive verb. To give. Yeah. Okay. To be in concord in opinion or sentiment. Consent as a noun. Compliance in or approval of what? Acquiescence. There it is, real word, acquiescence. Voluntary agreement by a people to organize a civil society and give authority to government. That's when it starts to get dangerous for me. Your acquiescence to authority. Okay, I'll turn that off now because it seems to be messing with things. Okay, so do you give consent? Do you live a permission-based lifestyle? I don't. It's getting more and more difficult to not live a permission-based lifestyle. Why? Because you don't make up your own mind. You're basing your own decisions on previous experiences. Well, I'm 70, nearly 70 years old, so I have a lot of experiences. But beyond that, you're basing it on the pre-written history. So quite a lot of people are doing deep dives into the idea that the mind control experiment that the governments of the world admit, they admit quite freely that they went through with these mind control experiments where they literally scrambled people's brains and implanted thoughts. I mean, just horrible. Ugh. I don't even think about it because to me it's no different from mutilating a body to mutilate somebody's brain and mind and do some brainwashing. It's actually mind washing. MK Ultra is mind control. So it's already, I mean, thank goodness for people digging it out and finding out that that really happened, and the governments of the world mostly agree that yes, we did experiment like that. But what they don't tell you is they continue to, but they do it in different ways. You know, how do you acquiesce to somebody who wants to dominate your life? How do you acquiesce? Well, you go into submission, and I won't submit. It's something deep in me. I don't know why. Why? No, I don't know why, but I will not acquiesce. I'm sorry, but it's not that I'm an instant rebel or anything stupid like that. I just want to find my own permission, my own way of being in the world. I want to find that out for myself. After all, life is a journey and it's an adventure. So I want to find my own way. Now, of course, I'm going to learn from my parents up until I'm a certain age, and then I'm going to start pushing outside of their influence and look for other things in the world that they hadn't experienced. So I'm going beyond their experience. As soon as I'm like 6 or 7 years old, I'm already doing that. So when I start doing it, I didn't stop. I never stopped. Never, never, never stop. And the reason I didn't stop is because I wanted to find out for myself how far I can go. How expansive can my non-permission, non-acquiescing self go without consenting to somebody else's ideas of how I should live my life? Has it been easy? No, because society wants you in a box. It wants you clearly defined. So it's easy to get your consent, easy to get your acquiescence. It's easy for society to control you, your family, your friends, everybody is trying to get a little piece of you and go, I can make it into this shape. I mean, it's almost like we're claymation, we're not real. It's like, oh, we'll distort this fella. Let's distort him. Yeah, here you go. Here's a nice distortion. Oh, what? It's like that. I mean, that's in the physical sense, but the mental, emotional, spiritual sense, molded into a ball. Even my friend who writes on the dark side and performs, and also, he's not my friend, right? For a start, I've tried to understand why somebody would choose the dark over the light, and it's because he gets his jollies that way. Well, why does he get his jollies that way? Because he's told that the dark is fun and he gets off on it. People in control of others, not themselves, but of others. People get their jollies that way. And more people are getting their jollies that way. Not this person I'm talking about who's experimented in the dark side with his life is honestly out of control of himself. He is being controlled by that which is dark and light. You see, the darkness is controlling him. He thinks he's working in the dark, in a consensual society, but his consent goes as far as giving consent to idiots. See, when you take control of others, you seek consent in many ways. So I think he actually believes, same person, actually believes that currently Donald Trump is in charge of the United States of America. He actually believes that. You see, acquiescing to those choices that are within you as a human, to either be kind, caring, loving, and be the things you want to be the things you want to see in the general society. Well, I've only ever wanted one thing. I want to love and be loved. But I'm not prepared to do that by resorting to violence in any way, shape, or form, be it verbal, physical. I don't want to be violent. I cannot be violent. It's an anathema to me. It makes me ill. Even when I got sucked into the system of controls that were around me in order to make lots and lots of money, which I did for quite a while, I felt ill. It made me feel ill because I was doing something against my own inner peace, my own inner love. So I chose a path of love and peace. And it's not an easy path in today's realm. In today's society, it's not an easy choice, but it's still a choice I'm going to continue to make. Even though I see the dark side rise up, I see people just bowing down before gods. And it's like, this is not God. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. It's like, there are no masters. This person I'm talking about calls himself a master. The only thing he's mastering is baiting. He's a master baiter. It's an outright wanker. And I think that he knows it, but it's just he can't give it up. So he's addicted to the darkness that he sees in the world. Well, don't get addicted to the dark. It's a horrible thing. I'm seeing it in another friend too, who's become addicted to things within this realm that take her to a dark place. And I'm like, give those things up, or admit that they're within you, and then work with the idea that certain parts and aspects of that addiction are manifested in you, but you have to work through them, and you can only do that by going to the light. And then you have to remember that there's this false light, this fake light, that this one, watch. Oh, look, he's in the light. You see, he's in the light, but he could be in the light or in the light. It does. See, I'm trying to make comparisons, and it's like the same old bullshit that I keep coming up with. It's love or fear. If you're promoting fear, even if you're doing it by consent, if you're promoting fear, then you're on the wrong side of the path. There's the simple path, there's a point towards the middle. Sure, we're going to be in a duality and the fluctuation is going to be real, because that's our human experience. But going to the dark side is going to an extreme. Going to a point where you believe that this fake light is real is also an extreme. So you have to find your middle path. Your middle path is dependent upon one thing alone: you. So you are responsible for what you see in the world, what you are in the world, and what you believe in the world. So why wouldn't you want to have and give love and peace to everybody? Why wouldn't you want that? And if you think you can do it through coercion, then you're a dinosaur, because coercion is the way in which government nicely says, "Oh, I love you and I'm going to make your life better." And you go, "Oh, okay." And you give it up. Don't give it up. I don't want to be governed. No true anarchist is ever going to tell you that violence, and I mean somebody that believes in no governing, nobody controls me, and you can give it labels: anarchy, voluntarism, there's many labels, but it's in you to decide. It's still in you to decide. Now I'll listen to other people's wisdom, of course I will, and I'll get, sorry, um excuse me, my necklace twisted. Okay, I'll listen to this on the extreme, and I'll listen to this on the extreme, and I'll okay, sorry, wrong camera. I'll listen to the extremes, but I'll always come back to my center. Listen to the extremes, always come back to my center. I can act within certain parameters, and yes, there are certain things, my desires, my normal man, I'm male, my normal male desires will come forth, and it will take it a little bit out, and I'll be like, no, bring it back in, because I want to see love. I want to be love, and I want to be peace. I want to see it. I want to be it. I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. So I'm going to keep coming back to this middle area and not follow the extremes. And it's really, it's not godless, because I do believe there is a greater force, and that's called creation. Creation is in the light. Creation is not in the dark. Destruction is in the dark. So to dominate somebody, to take away their freedoms by domination or coercion, is wrong in my book. But I've only written books of poetry. I haven't written books of domination. Okay. Hey, Europe is in the dark, especially northern. Yes, that's a good observation, Conrad. There's a friend of mine called Conrad who is in Poland, and he said Europe is in the dark. Yes, but the thing is, they've gone into the dark because of acquiescence, and they're acquiescing to dark lords, self-appointed lords. They're not, well, in some cases they are actually royalty, but they will eventually get to a point, even in Europe, even in places that have been under an incredible control system for centuries and centuries and centuries. So they will eventually have to resort to self, like go into themselves and make the active choice. Now, if they can choose to go the way of the dark, I mean, that's an active choice for human beings. The problem being, of course, especially in places that are old, with old rules and old regulations, and then new rules coming in and new regulations. People have got sort of like their head down. Maybe they're like, oh, I give up. Don't ever give up. Never, ever give up being free to choose your own path. And it must be the middle path. It cannot be the extremist path. Not even if it's extreme. You can't achieve the the okay, the infinite spiritual. You cannot achieve the infinite spiritual in your human experience, because your human experience is a duality. That's a singularity. That's when it's all revealed. But you can't. Nobody knows when that is. Sure, no ETs, no ETs, ETs two. I build chimney without permission, and couple are not visible things. Yeah, I mean, you have to be a little guarded, because you know that the world is facing towards the dark, but it's facing towards the dark. It's not actually in the dark. I don't believe Europe is in the dark. I don't, but it's it's looking towards the dark for answers, and that's a lot of people. I mean, I think people here, especially youngsters today, in one of the freest countries I've ever been to, and one of the, I'm in California. It's one of the freest places in the world, and it's beautiful here, and I love it. Uh, but even that, I mean, half of society, especially the youth, are going, well, yeah, but there's a shortcut. Shortcutting is giving up. It's giving up your choice. It's acquiescing to a system of controls, and I won't. I'm in control of myself, but I do not want to control others. Influence maybe, but not control. I want to have a good influence on people. I want them to know and understand that being good and being loving and being caring and kind and all those things is the right path, and it brings you back to your center. Okay. Uh, yes, there's bureaucracy and officecracy. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways of making it difficult for you to be free. Well, if you want to be free, you're going to have to sign this form. Oh, and when you sign this form, you have to give us all your information. Oh, and you have to do. It's like, yeah, fuck off. I'm free already. I don't need your permission to be free. I know I am. I know there are consequences to be free, but there's consequences I'm willing to bear, whatever they are. And you can come on with your bureaucracy, your oligarchy, your royalty, your governing bodies, your formalities, your ways of tripping you up. They're trying to trip you. So you got to dance. That's why it's called the dance of life. Okay. Might be, but they are with their problems now as well. Yes, they're facing their own. Yeah, this is where I think this is where I believe the people that think they're in control are finding out that they too are creating their own world, and they're having to face the consequences of their creation, even though it's dark. They're facing their own darkness. And that is where we start to truly understand that you got to bring it back. You got to allow people to be free. You got to allow people to make their own decisions. And we've got enough historical evidence, and we've got enough imagination to be able to create great beauty. So we should be. I mean, I'm trying to get ready for a show tomorrow. I'm playing a live show tomorrow with other performers in a little club, and it'll be fun for me. But what I'm trying to do is leave enough, even though I'm rehearsing and practicing and pre-recording a bunch of. It's like I'm trying to leave enough for there to be that spark, that magical moment when you just go, wow, something's passing through me into the audience or into the fellow supporting cast of people. Because attending live events, you feel them sometimes. I attended an event recently where I watched about 7 or 8 musicians creating music, and I looked at all their instrumentation. I know the instrumentation, I know the production, I know live, and then all of a sudden there were other instruments, and it wasn't all of a sudden. It crept in, but when it crept in, there were other instruments in the room, and it was the room itself. It's that atmosphere and the harmonics that were built in the moment, and that moment hit me, and I was like, wow, this is transporting me. And I'm hoping to create something, not hoping, I'm planning to create some harmonics within the room tomorrow when I perform. So it's going to be a unique night. It'll be fun. Sometimes they also don't need to deal with our problems. Sometimes that means go do whatever you want. Yes, always. Always. But the thing is, what do you want? That's something that people don't truly understand. Is what do you want? What do you want to see in the world? And then go out and build it. Building fence. I needed to call call, call Rhodes office, and guy there told me, do as you want. That's not something we're dealing with. Excuse me. And you asked the question, good. Harmonics like bells. Yes, like bells. Okay, I can take it's also like, in a bigger picture, like alchemy. You add things into a recipe and all of a sudden you've got something that's completely different from its original ingredients. So the ingredients within that room, when I experience these harmonics, yeah, it's a resonation. I believe that most of our human experience is broken down into frequency and light, right? It's the frequency, the harmonics. So allowing those harmonics to creep into you allows you to witness something otherworldly, but at the same time something beautiful. So that's good, and I do believe that. Yeah, music and art. That's something I'm keeping as mystery. Yes, I mean, giving it up to creation. That's another part of finding the center. Is to say that I'm not in control. I don't want to be in control. I just want to see a better world. And how do I create it? Well, by being what I believe is a creative human being. I don't know how much. I don't even know too much on that. Just try and be with, meaning harmonics. Yeah, sound. I mean, all of our senses are triggers for things. Letting the light come in, that's your eyes. You know, we see only this small spectrum of light. You know, when people paint psychedelic and abstract things, or layer things in order to create other things within things, you know, it's like when you're staring at a cloud and you see a shape in it. It's your imagination. You're imagining through your eyes a world of great beauty that is constantly changing. The eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the hands, the body, all of it is tuning in to a frequency, and that frequency is within a spectrum that we can understand as humans, but only through our human experience can we possibly understand that there are other senses too beyond those 5 that we are experiencing as humans. And that's when the spiritual starts to come up, and then you begin to understand that there's more to life than the physical, mental, emotional um, life. You're living a stunted life without a spiritual connection. So those are the connections. Over here. Mental. Which one's dominating in mine? Oh, this one. This finger's dominating in mine. Oh dear. No, this. So it's the mental. Okay, sorry. The mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. You try and keep them in balance, and that way you can transmit and receive. You try and keep them in balance as a human, because that balance can only be achieved by not being way too extreme or way too extreme, but to find that the frequency you're operating on, the receiving information and giving information, is more important. Okay, comrade. Sounds, chords are built with. Yeah. Do you play guitar? I can make a noise on pretty much any instrument. It's not been an instrument I haven't been able to make a noise with. It doesn't necessarily mean do I play it. I'm certainly not a virtuoso on any one instrument. No worries. Nice system with thumb as antenna. Yeah, yeah. But it's a receiver and transmitter. You're right. Like antenna on bugs. Yes. Yeah. They bring in, but we bring information in and we transmit information out. And if we're not in balance, it's stunted, and it's like, oof, Anyway, yes, they also play harmonics. Yes, yeah. I mean, I think pretty much everything is frequency and light. That's what I believe. But I mean, maybe that's just my human experience. All of it is just my human experience, but it's one of choice. And I hope everybody starts to understand that it's their choice that creates this. Their choice creates this. And the more they're in the light and more they're understanding the frequency that they can operate from in this human experience, the more they're likely to choose to be in that middle way of understanding, instead of this extreme control of others, extreme individuation, where it's become coerced and acquiesced to a system. I don't need to live a permission-based lifestyle. I don't need to live by consent, my consent or consent from others. I think it's how we are as humans is to naturally interact with each other naturally. Now, if you can do it and not come across violence, then that's me helping create a better world. So I avoid violence. It's not the right way. That's the wrong way. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of my pontification. Oh, look, the screen. Oof, that light's too much. Oof, there you go. Oh, sun's up. I got to get on with things. Thank you for joining me, Conrad. I love you very much, and you've been very helpful. Conrad's a supporter of my input, which I truly appreciate. Okay, struggling a little bit financially, but the rest of it is just coming along nicely. I get to play a show tomorrow night and have fun trying to produce something that is otherworldly and creative. All right, lots of love. Bye.